Hey everyone, I'm Liam and welcome to my channel. This is my first ever YouTube video. So what's my first video going to be about? So we're going to be unboxing the PS5 Pro. I'm going to be setting it up. I'm going to be comparing it to the original PlayStation 5, which you should just be able to see in the corner there. So I'm going to be checking out a couple of the Pro Enhanced games, comparing from the original PS5 to the PS5 Pro. Let's see the difference. And then I'm going to check out a couple of non-enhanced games just to see if the extra horsepower does actually boost up the frame rate. Before we get to that, I just want to talk about a pre-order experience. So I pre-ordered this on the 26th of September, so about 6-7 weeks ago. I did originally want a 30th anniversary edition and I was in the queue for hours. I was waiting eagerly, but as soon as I got through to actually order one, they'd already sold out literally within seconds. So I opted for the standard PS5 Pro. I did manage to bag myself a 30th anniversary DualSense controller, so that should be coming in a couple of weeks. So before we get onto the unboxing, what is the PlayStation 5 Pro? Basically, the PlayStation 5 Pro is Sony's enhanced mid-generation upgrade, boasting the big three: bigger GPU, advanced ray tracing effects, and PSSR, which is the AI-driven upscaling technology. So what is AI-driven upscaling? So Sony's answer to that is PSSR, which stands for PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution. And much like Nvidia's DLSS on PC, it's able to take lower resolutions and use an AI algorithm to boost them up to a higher resolution to make them appear more like 4K or higher resolutions on bigger screens. So what about that larger GPU? The PlayStation 5 Pro's GPU has been increased by 67 compute units. Combining this with 28% faster RAM makes for an overall boost in performance on the GPU by about 45% compared to the original PlayStation 5. The last of the big three is the advanced ray tracing performance. With the advanced ray tracing, it's reported to have up to 3 times better ray calculations, so just basically better reflections, better lighting, things like that. This all sounds very exciting on paper. I'm actually really excited to open this. It's been a long time since I've had a console on day one, because I am mainly a PC gamer. I have a 4070 Super in there, so it's, you know, it's mid-range. But when it comes to like single player games, I very much like to sit down on a sofa, controller in hand, coffee at the side of me, and just kind of get absorbed into those stories. Whereas my PC is a bit more like for competitive gaming, like Call of Duty, first person shooters. I prefer to sit at a desk in a chair. But if I just want to get absorbed into like a Final Fantasy, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, I much prefer play on a console, sit down and just get really comfy. Right, should we get onto the unboxing? It's very squeaky. Oh, gonna be a box within a box. The outer sleeve, pop that over there. Oh, we first presented with the power cable. It's just a normal figure of 8. And we've got the 2.1 HDMI cable. We've got the USB Type-C to Type-C for charging the controller. And we've got the actual controller itself, the DualSense controller. It's a shame you don't get the Pro controller. You'd think for £700 they'd throw you one of them in as well, but it feels a lot nicer than my current one. I think these are the little plastic feet, so if you want to put your console horizontal, I prefer mine vertical anyway, so I don't think I'll be using these. I think all that's left is the manuals of the console now. Got the manuals, so the guarantee. We've got the quick start guide, basically how to set it up and stuff. If you've already got a PlayStation 5, you're not going to find this difficult at all. Oh, it's even got colour. It's not often you get colour pictures and stuff like that. And then finally, you've got the safety guide. Now, I do believe it's this which actually reveals the full specs of the PlayStation 5 Pro, whereas up until now, it weren't 100% known. Yeah, so here's the spec sheet. I'll put a better image on the screen so you can actually see it better. The moment we've been waiting for, it's the actual final reveal of the console. Are we ready? I'm really excited for this. Oh, it feels heavy actually. I'll pop this on the floor. To be fair, for £700, you'd think the packaging, there'd be a bit more flair to it. Like unboxing a Series X is a little bit more of an exciting affair. I think I've got it upside down. Are we ready? Ta-da! It is substantially smaller than my original fat PS5 over there. I quite like the way the lighting catches the fins here. I quite like it actually. It feels heavy, but not in a... It's not heavier than the original PS5, but it's got a little bit of weight to it, but in more of a condensed form. I really like that actually. Let's have a look at the back. So you've got your power, your two USB type A ports, you've got your LAN for your Ethernet, and you've got HDMI. And then on the front, they've actually replaced one of the USB type A's with another type C. So you've got two type C's on the front and two type A's on the back. Right, I'm going to take some comparison shots of the original PS5 next to this one to see the size difference. I must admit, I absolutely love this particular shot. It really shows off how much thinner the PlayStation 5 Pro is if you're looking down from the top, if you know what I mean. I also really like the look of the fins from this angle. It wasn't until I saw them side by side that I noticed how much smaller the PlayStation logo on the Pro is versus the normal PlayStation 5. Looking at the back here, even though they generally look the same, you can definitely see there's been some movement on the ports, especially on the Pro where it looks like the power port has fallen out with the rest of them. You can also see how the vents are smaller on the back of the Pro versus the original PlayStation 5, and I bet this is something down to the new Pro's fin exhausts. Finally, from the front here, which I think is both of the console's best angle, the Pro definitely shows off its sleekness, although the lack of drive attachment really does help it a lot here. I also think the two Type-C ports on the PlayStation Pro just look much neater here too versus the normal PlayStation 5. So now that we've compared the original PS5 to the PS5 Pro, what I want to do now is I'm going to set it up. I'm going to pop it in that gap there, so it's going to be next to the PS5. I'm going to have both the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro connected to my TV, which is an LG C2 OLED. I'm going to boot a game up on the PS5, and then I'm going to switch over to the PS5 Pro, change the inputs over, and I'm going to compare like the image quality, see if I can notice an increase in frame rate, things like that. Let's get it connected. Got to adjust the display area, HDR. Usually there's always a system update. Should be relatively fast. I have quite fast broadband. Right, finally we're actually on now. I've got to update my controller. You'd think you'd get some kind of PlayStation 5 Pro intro specifically for the Pro, but it just seems like you're just setting up a PlayStation 5. So it's already showing me that I have a license for all these games that I already bought. So when I first booted it up and started running around, I genuinely had to double take and make sure I'd not booted up the normal PlayStation 5. Because to me, the image looked exactly the same. It wasn't until I put the PlayStation 5 version back on and then I compared the two that I could see a difference. Now, the difference is subtle. It just looks a lot smoother. It looks a lot more detailed. The draw distance looks a little bit better, but honestly, unless you have them side by side, I did find it quite hard to see the difference. Now, I do believe this is more to do with the fact that it's a first party title. Guerrilla Games have always been absolutely brilliant when it comes to graphics, so I do think they pushed the PS5 to its limits. I do believe they've changed the TAA method. They're not actually using PSSR on this particular title, they're actually using their own in-house solution, and I think that's why it looks a bit like a Pixar movie in a sense that it looks like CGI, and I mean that's not a bad thing, but you know, when you're just used to sharpness, it does seem to lack sharpness. I thought I'd be like really blown away by the difference in the image quality. I can see it, I recognise it. Can I £700 see it? In Horizon Dawn? No, not really. The next game I'm going to test out is The Last of Us Part 1. Right, I'm going to boot up Last of Us Part 1 now on the original PlayStation 5 in performance mode and see what it looks like, and then I'm going to boot it up on the PlayStation 5 Pro in Performance Pro mode and compare the differences. I'm hoping this one's going to be a bit more impactful, because Horizon Zero Dawn, I can notice a difference, but it wasn't like blowing me away. But I think that's more of a testament to Guerrilla Games' image quality solutions anyway. I know they don't use PSSR in the remaster, they use their own in-house upscaling tech, so we'll see what this looks like though. I'm thinking this one might be a little bit more of a difference. So I'm at the hotel, I'm a couple of hours into the game, and already the performance mode on the original PlayStation 5 to me is a lot worse quality than that of Horizon Dawn version. I'm thinking the Pro version of this will look a lot better in Last of Us Part 1. Like on distant detail, it's a lot blurrier. It still looks good. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't look good. It still does look good. Oh, nice. I'll take that, thank you very much. I'm going to switch over to the PlayStation 5 Pro and check out the performance mode on The Last of Us Part 1. So it's already given me the option of enabling Pro rendering mode. So Horizon didn't do this, you just had to find it out in the settings yourself. On The Last of Us, it's actually giving us the option to enable Pro rendering mode from the off. This mode uses PS5 Pro console to provide an optimal balance of frame rate and resolution, targeting 60 frames per second and output at 4K with PSSR super resolution. You can change this at any time, so we'll go go ahead with yes, and we'll load up. Wow, so already I can see how much sharper this is in performance mode. Like that looks like it did on the favor resolution mode before. That is definitely that is a big difference. Much more pronounced than Horizon. Okay, I'm starting to feel like I didn't waste my money entirely here. Let's get outside though so we can see it a little bit better, because it's very dark in these rooms. Wow, no, there's a big difference with this, definitely. Even though shadows look less blurry than they did on the other mode. Joel's hair seems to be a lot less frizzy. The detail in the hair is a lot sharper, and his beard as well. See, now that I'm outside, the detail is a lot higher. Like, they're noticing on the stone here, it looks so much sharper. I'm actually really impressed. I think the jump up's a lot bigger than that of Horizon Dawn. I wish I could craft arrows. I'm always running out of arrows. Can I pick my arrows back up? Oh, that's all right then. Uh-oh. See, coming this way with the sun shining, that looks so sharp. I think this would be my preferred way to play now. So I'm going to compare one final game now, which is Final Fantasy 16. Now this game doesn't have any Pro Enhanced support. It does have a performance mode on the base PS5, which is what I've got on now, and it runs quite poorly. As soon as you spin the camera around, even in this hideout, you know, I can see that it's dropping frames from 60. So what I'll be interested to try out is to boot it up on the PlayStation 5 Pro, and hoping the extra horsepower that the GPU has, it will push that up to a solid 60, at least in this area here. There's no point doing a close examination of the resolution because I know there is no resolution bump. As far as I'm aware, there isn't, unless there's a dynamic resolution, which means it might, we'll see anyway. Right, so I'm gonna boot it up on the PlayStation 5 Pro now and see if there's a difference to the frame rate. That's strange. It's almost like when it's booting up, it's the first time I've ever booted it up ever, but my save's still there. Okay, so I've switched over to the performance mode now. Okay, that's interesting. So now when I'm spinning the camera around, it's no longer stuttering anymore. And I don't know if it's just me, but the pitch quality does look a little bit better. But I'm wondering if that's because it does use a dynamic resolution feature. So because of the extra horsepower, it's able to dynamically adjust the resolution to be a little bit higher. That's really interesting. I'm going to fast travel to a different area. I haven't played this in a while. I can't actually remember how to do it. Open world map. There we go. Right, brilliant. Let's try going here. Well, that frame rate's still smooth. Normally it's quite jittery here. Do you know what? This might be my new preferred way to play this game, because actually, because the image quality and the frame rate was so bad before, I actually was playing this game at 30 just because I couldn't cope with the visuals and the frame rate. But even though this hasn't got Pro Enhanced support just yet, the fact that the frame rate seems to... Oh, no, actually, hang on. I think there was a little jitter there. But it is running a lot better. And that's obviously with no patch. That's just because of the extra horsepower. I really do this game gets a proper Pro Enhanced patch. Anyway, I think we'll go to my final thoughts on this whole upgrade. So what are my final thoughts on the PlayStation 5 Pro? To be honest with you, going into this, I thought it would be a solid, straight recommendation. I thought I would be blown away by the differences. And I'm not as blown away as I thought. Maybe that's because I'm used to a higher end gaming PC, I'm not sure. Is it essential? I would say no. It's a nice to have. So if you can afford it and you want to play your games at the highest resolutions, at the highest frame rates, and you are a bit of a pixel counter, things like that, I would say buy it. It is a premium, and considering the fact that you don't get a disc drive with it, that's a bit of a stinger. If you're the kind of person that's a casual gamer, you sit maybe 10 feet away from your TV on the sofa, you're not bothered about frame rates, and you're happy playing games at 30 frames a second, then by all means, there's no point upgrading. You would most likely be better off waiting for the PlayStation 6. On the examples I have demonstrated today, the biggest jump for me was on The Last of Us Part 1, the performance mode on the PlayStation 5 versus the performance mode on the PlayStation 5 Pro. To me, there was quite a difference. Again, I game on this 48-inch LG OLED. I sit about 4 or 5 feet away at the most sometimes, and I could see a big difference. When it comes to Horizon Zero Dawn, I don't think the difference was as big. I did notice a difference, but it wasn't as stark. So for someone who appreciates pixels and resolutions like me, not really seeing the biggest impact, I would imagine somebody who's a casual gamer will probably be looking at it thinking, what am I looking at? There's no difference here. In regards to God of War, didn't really blow me away. Again, I think that's more to do with the fact that even the standard PlayStation 5 version of that game is very high-end graphics. When you play the game on PC and turn everything to max, you've got to zoom in 400% to see the differences. So I wasn't expecting the Pro version to blow me away with that. Again, it's a nice to have. In regards to Final Fantasy 16 that I just tried, I did notice a difference to the frame rates in the performance mode on the Pro versus the original PlayStation 5 version. This game hasn't received a patch as yet, so the frame rate increase is simply due to the larger GPU. I think that might be my preferred way to play it now. I have been playing it at 30, but I only played it at 30 just because the picture quality was so poor at the performance mode. It does seem that the picture quality has a slight increase on performance mode, and I think that's to do with the dynamic resolution the game has. So because there's more graphics card power, it can push higher pixels. I might be wrong, but I think that's what I'm seeing. Do I feel like I wasted my money? A little bit. Will I keep the PlayStation 5 Pro? I think I will. I do enjoy tech, as it were. I enjoy all that kind of stuff, and I much prefer to play my single player games reclined back on the chair on a console. My PC is mainly for like shooters, things like that, things that require a bit more concentration, but I will now be using the Pro primarily. I'll be keeping the original fat PlayStation 5 for when friends come round and we want to maybe play some Call of Duty online, things like that, but I'll probably migrate it to a different room. To wrap it up, I'm a bit disappointed when game developers start to be able to use the Pro hardware and push it and develop with that in mind. I think there'll be a much bigger difference, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here. It's a bit of a stinger that you don't get the disc drive included. Been trying to find a disc drive for it for weeks, but they're out of stock everywhere. Thank you to all the scalpers that have bought it and selling it at double the price. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you guys think of the Pro? Are you interested in buying one? Are you going to hang off and see where it goes, or are you just going to wait for the PlayStation 6 to come? And what games are you most looking forward to playing this year? If you made it this far, a massive thank you from myself. This is my first YouTube video, so I apologise in advance if it's a little bit here, there and everywhere, but hopefully in time things will improve and get better. Thank you so much for watching. If you do enjoy this kind of content, please give me a like, subscribe and tick that notification bell for notifications that may or may not appear on your screen. And from me for now, it's goodbye. Until next time, bye. Say bye, Biggie. Bye.